I'm going to call to order the Wednesday, August 3rd, Independence Township Zoning Board of Appeals meeting at 6:01. Can everybody please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Brian.
Mr. Auger?
Present.
Mr. Zurich?
Here.
Mr. Galley?
Here.
Mr. Charles?
Here.
And Mr. Epping is absent.
Okay, we have a quorum of members. Next item, review of the agenda. Any changes and then a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to withdraw case 22-017 as the petitioner's request to change the agenda.
You have a motion to eliminate item number 1 at the petitioner's request and then accept the rest of the agenda as presented. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Charles. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none, motion carries 4-0. Public comment for anything not on tonight's agenda. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to comment on something that is not on our agenda tonight? And it doesn't look like there's anybody online as of yet tonight. So we'll move on. Unfinished business is the next item. There is no unfinished business tonight. So we'll move right into new business. The first case has withdrawn. So if you haven't been to a ZBA meeting or seen one, what we'll do is we'll call your case, come to the podium, introduce yourself, name and address, and then give us a brief summary of what you're trying to do, and then we'll ask you questions and guide you from there, okay? So with that, we'll call case number 2. It's 22-018, Dirk Fenley, petitioner, requesting a 7.47 foot lot depth variance from section 4.06D, table 4.06 for quarter lot width to depth ratio in order to combine lots at 7095 Clintonville Road. Dirk?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, my name is Dirk Fenley. I live at 776 Nettles Boulevard in Jensen Beach, Florida now. That's my permanent residence. Been 4 months up here since I retired 5 years ago. This was my mom's wish to give my brother here a partial, a little bit more property with our pole barn. We moved out here in '68. We were the 5th house north of Clintonville Road. It was a dirt road. We've lived there pretty much all our life, and we're just asking to, there's nothing, it was approved on October 4th of last year, of 2021, but it had a condition on it that we sell it to Pulte Homes, and we're just asking for that condition to be dropped.
That's nothing to do with us.
No, Pulte Homes had an option on the property. I believe what Mr. Finley is referring to is the lot split. So with the lot split and the configuration that Pulte was purchasing from them, it would have been approved. But now we're going back to the original lot dimensions because Pulte has withdrawn that project. So that's the need for the width to depth ratio, 1:4 width to depth ratio variance. And it's a pretty minor. It's about 8 feet, 7.5 feet is what they're requesting. And in part of this, there'll be basically a split and a combination that'll occur to give, I think, Mr. Finley's brother a little bit more property, encompass the barn, I think.
Correct.
That's on the property presently. So it'll actually make the lots a little more compliant.
Does the barn meet the rear yard setbacks then?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
That's why it's back so far.
So parcel B right now is a flag parcel, and you're combining the square in the front section to make it a full square.
Well, it's still gonna be a flag, but it's gonna be, they're gonna combine it with some of what is in the flag and expand and increase the depth a little bit, on the parcels -030. And then, the resultant parcel will be the parent parcel, owned by the
That's the
trust.
existing parcel, they're adding that to it. And because of the depth. because the
Ryan,
barn
do we
is-
have any surveys showing the locations of any of the structures on either piece of parcel to be split?
Yeah, there's a combined parcel
Right on the
survey.
Right on the drawing.
The one that I'm showing right now on the screen that's in the packet.
Well, I guess that was kind of what I was getting at. It's a less of a nonconformity by approving this, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you're bringing the barn into compliance, because right now it's not. But by doing this combination, split and combination, they're encompassing the barn into the smaller parcel B. So that's what they're proposing.
Did you have anything else to add at this time? Okay, I guess I'll bring it up here for questions. Anybody want to start? Anybody have any additional questions?
Well, I agree with what Brian is saying, that this takes a small parcel, which is now 030, and adds to it. Now, because it's R1A, it's conforming because it's 100 by 260. But the new parcel will be 146 by 431. And the barn, as I asked before, it has a 50-foot rear yard setback, which makes it conforming. I have no issues with this.
Yeah, and an R1A is actually, all you need is 10 feet,
Right.
so it's really small.
Mr. Auger, anything?
No, as long as the existing structures fall into the zoning requirements for those two properties, that was my only question. I agree that it brings it into more conformity with the surrounding properties. I don't see a problem with this.
Mr. Zerk?
I have no questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Open it up for public comment. Anybody in the audience that wish to comment on this case, come forward. Okay, seeing none, back to the board for more questions or a motion?
Nothing was written in as a problem or concern?
No comment cards?
I'll make a motion in case 22-018 to approve the request as advertised.
Second.
We have motion by Auger, second by Mr. Sharl. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Auger,
Yes.
Mr. Galley,
Yes.
Mr. Charles,
Yes.
and Mr. Zurich.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 4-0. Okay, we'll call the next case. It would be case number 3 on the agenda, case 22-019. Michael Kelly petitioner requesting a 30-foot front yard variance from section 4.06D, table 4.06, in order to construct a new home at 4655 Edgewood Drive, R1A, single-family residential. Michael?
Hi there, Mike Kelly. I'm here with my wife, Corey Lynn, and as you stated, 4655 Edgewood Drive, and we're looking to build a new home. We moved to the house 8 years ago with our 4 kids, and we've outgrown it drastically. It's an old home. It's 72 years old, built in 1950, and it's falling apart every which way possible. So we're just looking to, conform with the neighborhood, build a nicer home. We're not building some monstrosity, but as the lake houses are there's, variances from front to back that are pretty tight that most homes aren't in conformity with right now. So we're just asking for a variance so we can build the home for our family and stay there for quite a few years to go.
Yeah, sorry, here, I'm having a little wait here with my computer. So yeah, the area that you're homing in, as you described, existing non-conforming lot of record, I assume, Mr. Ottman? Or
No, it's a conforming lot.
a conforming lot in this case? Most of the houses next to it, from the overhead, seem to be in line, typical for the area, for the size and the scope of your project. So I'll bring it up to the board for questions. You want to start this time, Mr. Auger?
No, I was out there today. I reviewed the street again. I think there's only one house that's pretty new that hasn't been before us for some type of setback variance. With the topography of this particular lot, and wanting to improve the neighborhood and build a new dwelling, I really don't have a problem with it. It brings it, I think it brings it more into conformity. I believe, if I remember
From the
correctly,
street
the
to the
garage
building?
is going to be setting back further than it is now. It was
Further than
right
the
on
existing.
front. So I have no problem.
That it, Mr. Zert?
Yeah, just a little bit off topic, but what's the square foot of your house now and what will it be?
It's 2,200, I believe it's 14 up top, 800 below, basement area. We're looking to, we haven't finished up with the full plan, 'cause we wanted to get the variance before we go ahead and get everybody rolling what we have to do, but probably around 2,500, 2,500, 2,600 maybe right there.
I have no concerns.
Mr. Carl?
The existing house is 4.7 feet off the right-of-way, and the
Yes.
proposed house will be 10 feet.
Correct.
Give you an extra 6 feet for that black pickup truck.
Yeah. You saw that thing, it barely fits.
Yeah, it
Have you seen
barely
my,
fits.
have you seen my, my garage door dented a little bit from back in the day?
Well, I imagine you have to pull off the road, otherwise it's,
You got that right.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it makes all the sense in the world, I have no issue.
Yeah, no, it's a good neighborhood, and like I said, it's just, we just wanna build something we can stay there for long term.
My comments would be along the same lines as most of the gentlemen who have spoken already on the board. You know, just in any motion, I would, you know, obviously add the conditions for the surveys and as-built to make sure we keep on those setback lines as it was advertised. With that, I'll bring it to the audience. Anybody in the audience who wishes to comment on this case tonight?
I just have some questions.
Sure.
Can you come to the podium?
Podium, please. Just name and address.
Yeah, Lisa Pollock, 4701 Edgewood Drive. I'm also the vice president for the homeowners association. So I think some of the neighbors had some questions on what does the 30 feet refer to? So if it's a variance, what would the normal requirement be, and how is the 30 feet of variance to that?
Well, most of the houses built in this sub were probably built before the ordinances
So-
were in effect, and Mr. Ottman can explain
Yeah,
it.
the front setback is normally 40 feet from the road right away. And
Okay,
it's considered a 30-foot setback because you take the difference of, they were gonna be 10 feet from the road right away. Their current house is 4.7, I think, so this is gonna be set back to 10 feet. So that's why you have a 30-foot variance, because it's, you know, it has to add up to 40. So it's just a simple math equation.
so it's not really a variance from the requirements.
Well, they're requesting a variance from the front yard setback.
It's
So
a
normally it would be
variance from
50
the-
feet, and
It's a
you're-
variance from the new ordinance requirements, but for the subdivision, it won't look any different than any of the other houses on that street. It's actually gonna be farther back from the road than the current house.
Okay. And then another question, so the property is adjacent to the commons area for the subdivision, so I'm just curious, I know it's not the topic at hand, but what is the setback from the neighboring lot that's owned by the subdivision?
It'll be 10 feet, which meets our ordinance requirements.
10 feet from the property?
Yep,
From the
from the
property
property line.
line? Okay. And then my last question is just, when you approve variance, does it then set a precedent for future requests then that you have to approve those as well? So does it set up any future requests to be then approved?
Every request is considered on a case-by-case basis. There is, in certain instances, there is precedence, but with something like this on a lake lot, we see these a lot. That doesn't mean we're gonna approve every one of them, but typically there are lake lots like this that are small and predate our ordinance. So, I mean, but we consider everything the board does on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. And then what is the setback from the water's edge? Is there
50
any
feet.
requirements?
Has to be 50 feet.
Okay.
And this is more than that. The survey considers the lakeside a front setback. That's not correct. So, but it's every bit of at least 50.
Okay.
I would say, since I've been on the ZBA, 90% of the new projects south of Maybe Road in that area, they're on older platted lots, which were designed as cottage lots when they were first platted, so they typically require a variance from the new requirements,
Okay.
so.
Okay. I think that, did you have anything else? Okay.
I'd like to make one more statement, and just to remind you and your constituents of your subdivision, this is actually an improvement that they're asking for, right? Okay. okay.
Yeah, and we didn't know that going in, so.
I understand,
I got some questions
To me,
for
that's
the rest of the
an
sub,
important
so-
highlight.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Anybody else in the audience who wishes to comment? Is there still nobody online?
No.
Okay, I'll bring it back up to the board for any more questions or comments or a motion.
Mr. Chairman, in the case of 22-019, Michael Kelly, petitioner requesting a 30-foot front yard variance. I move that we grant the variance as posted.
Subject to a survey?
Subject to a final as-built survey of the location of the new house.
I'll support.
Motion by Charles, support by Augur. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Galley,
Yes.
Mr. Charles,
Yes.
Mr. Zurich,
Yes.
and Mr. Augur.
Yes.
Okay. Motion passes 4-0. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Okay, last case tonight, case number 4 on the agenda, case 22-020. Jason Bohr, petitioner requesting 3 total variances. First variance, a 14.6-foot lot width variance from section 4.06D, table 4.06. Variance number 2, a variance from section 5.06A4 in order to have an existing detached structure in front of a new home. And variance 3, a 2.7-foot variance from section 5.06A4, table 5.06-2, for placement between a detached structure and a new single-family home, all in order to construct a new home at 4104 Myers Road, R1A, single-family residential. Jason?
Good evening, I'm Jason Bohr. So the house in question, my family bought the house in 1978. I was born and raised in the house, oh, not born, but raised in the house. The house is tired and doesn't meet current needs, so our intent is to demolish the existing house and build a new structure. So the plans that you see should, the new house is within the setbacks from my understanding. The 3 variances, the first one, I think, Brian, you probably can explain this a little bit better, being the older cottage lots, there's actually 2.5 lots here, so I think the first variance is just recording that one of the lots is non-conforming. Help me if I'm wrong with that one.
Most of the lots on Myers, as everybody knows, are non-conforming in terms, because they're all pie-shaped lots.
So the first variance is really one of 2.5 lots, one of them doesn't meet the lot conditions. The second one is obviously the existing garage. Mine, I think the house is built in, or the garage was built in, spring of 1985. It's good condition, meets, our intent would be to, keep that garage existing. And I would assume that as I'm pulling building permits, that I'd have electrical service run to that garage to the new house. And there would be inspections and requirements of that. And our intent would be to make the garage blend with the new construction of the house. And then the third variance is really the new house, even though it is within the setbacks, it is less than the 10 feet requirement for an outbuilding. So it is 7.3 feet. So that really is, from my understanding, the biggest condition for your consideration. My understanding is the 10-foot setbacks between structures is mainly, I think, originally from a egress point of view for a fire response type thing, but I have clear openings on the side that would help with that. Maybe that's just my interpretation of it, but I have good relations with the neighbors, reviewed all of our plans. I'm actually living in the house next door on the one side, and on the other side, planning to work with the neighbor on helping remove trees as I'm doing my work. So hopefully you consider it and approve.
Is that it at this time?
Yes, thanks.
Okay. So, yeah, obviously, we can see what you're trying to do. And for lack of a better description, the first variance is, just like you said, kind of a record-keeping thing for the lots in that area. I guess that just from my perspective, I'm struggling with the detached structure in front and what the hardship would be for that. I mean, the fact that it's a nice structure and it saves you a couple bucks or something like that is obviously all true, but it's not necessarily a hardship. So, I guess while we're going through up here, maybe you can think about what the hardship is, and looking at the new construction plan. Can the house just be tilted 5 degrees and then that structure's attached to it? I mean, looking at the overheads, a lot of the houses on that sub come right to the front setback, so it wouldn't be out of character, in my opinion, to have it that close to the road. But could it just be combined with the new structure, reuse the footings and walls or something like that? Is kind of where I'm at. Anybody else have any questions?
I see a bit of a problem in that
Mr.
because
Sherrill?
the way that it's designed right now, the finished floor elevation of the proposed garage is 79. The garage is 84.68. That's 5-foot difference
Mhm.
between that floor and that floor. And there's one of the things, when I looked at it, my first thought, since I didn't have this drawing with me, I thought, well, you gotta be putting in a 2-story basement to pick up the grade. But I can see by the survey here that you're gonna be 5 feet below, and the new house is going to be 5 feet higher than the old house was. 'Cause the existing house is 74, 71, and the new house is 79. So you're raising it by 5 feet, but you still got almost a 15% driveway slope to get down there. I am concerned, along with the chairman, that it's a situation where you got an existing garage that appears to be in pretty decent shape, but you could conceivably make this new garage a 3-car garage. And because you got plenty of setback to stay even within the 40-foot, if you remove that existing garage. As I would say, and again, I'm looking at this, but I don't, oh, wait a minute. All right, I see the 40, so the existing house is at the 40-foot setback. I mean, the proposed house is exactly right on the 40-foot setback line. But considering the fact that you have a non-conforming garage that's in front and also is too close to the road, I think this board would consider a front yard variance if you wanted to propose to remove the garage and make the proposed garage for the new house, 3-car.
It'll also be tight on the one side. It looks like it's 11.5 feet between the edge of the new garage and the property line.
Well, that garage is, the depth of that garage is 25 feet. So you could step the garage forward from the back and stay away from the side yard.
Mhm.
And still meet, the only variance that would be necessary would be, probably from what I'm seeing, maybe a 10-foot variance from the 40-foot setback.
Which looks very typical for the street.
Yeah,
If, like, the two of the neighbors look like they're right on it.
mm-hmm.
Is that it for now, Mr. Shaw?
Yes, that's it.
Mr. Zurich?
I guess, just continuing on, I mean, is there another reason why you really want to keep that garage, or just for the simplicity of leaving it and the potential cost savings?
To me, it adds value to my house and in the neighborhood, and being in good condition, and it allows me to, keep my belongings in a garage as intended, and not have, boats and the clutter that comes with lake living, having them out and being kind of an eyesore for the neighbors. To talk about the driveway slope, I did work with Keefe Engineering on creating the site plans. That was something that was very closely looked at, the garage slope, or the driveway slope. And that's what kind of set the elevation of the house. Ideally, I wanted to be much lower with the house.
Yeah, but to do that, you'd have to increase the slope of the driveway.
Right.
As it
So-
is, you're beyond, normally 10% is about max, but
So with working with Keefe Engineering, they expressed that 10% is the normal limit. And they said, anything beyond 15% is really, they wouldn't feel comfortable with it. The house immediately to the south, I went to, it's basically a mirror image of what I'm doing. He has a driveway down, side entry. I think he is also closer to the road like I would have to be. But that driveway of the neighbor's house is 16.5% slope on his. So it was a good gauge for me to see what 14.5% would actually mean. And I believe the house to the north is also at 14.5 or more. But
I had a suggestion.
yes,
Kick the house up another 5 feet and put in a third story. In other words, 2 stories down. Then you got all the room in the world.
I
And you
think.
got a better grade.
But then I'm already at least 1.5 feet, I think about 2.5 feet above the houses on each side. So I'm already, you did mention the other condition on the setbacks, the existing house. If I was forced to take down the old garage, I would be revising the plans and most likely coming back to the board with a similar variance to reconstruct the garage that would be closer to the road as the existing one is. So it's, the being kind of a mirror image of the house to the south, and I feel I'm consistent with what is already currently done, and I don't know.
But two members of this board have already expressed that the front yard setback isn't an issue, especially viewing the neighbors' properties. In my opinion, a 3-car garage could be easily done, or the existing garage could be easily attached with a foundation breezeway structure. That qualifies as long as it's attached. And there was a question, at least in this board member's opinion earlier, about precedents and decisions that we make affecting other lots and other parcels. And somebody can, in my opinion, can point to this, oh, you approved that detached accessory structure to stay. And just in my mind, that's a precedent-setting event in this area. So, but that being said, Mr. Auger, you haven't had a chance yet?
No, and when I was out to the site today and reviewing it, I remember down the street, we approved them building a detached garage, but I didn't have a garage attached to their house out by the street. If you, probably to the south of him, they're still working on the site now. I really don't have a problem with it, leaving the garage in this particular case. With the heavy topographic slope of this lot, if they can't use the attached garage in the winter, they can use it for boat storage and play equipment for the lake, and park their cars up at the road for safety. And I think the improvement, especially on Meyer Street, right off of Sashabaw, we approved a garage to be built in the front a number of years ago. This again is old platted properties. A garage of that size and nature would hide a lot of boat and outside equipment, so I'm not opposed to leaving the garage myself.
Does that boat that's sitting in front of the existing garage fit in that garage?
Yes,
It does?
yes. I had it in there last winter. Yes.
Really, looked a little tall.
Yeah, and the boat's in the driveway just because I'm going up
Oh, you
north
use
this
it,
weekend.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I can understand that.
And similar to another case we had last month with the 7-foot difference between the detached and the attached garage, we'd probably want the fire department to review the plans through the building department, just to, if the board elects to leave, let it leave, so that we know that the fire code is met.
I'll bring it to the audience. Anybody in the audience have any comments or questions on this case? Seeing none, still no attendees online. Mr. Ottman, any neighbor comments come back on this one?
Just one, the next door neighbor who is fully supportive of the project.
Which would be the house to the south. 4088.
Which,
I believe the house to the north is the one that called.
Oh,
Okay.
where are
Yeah,
you
it's-
living?
I'm living in the house to the north.
yeah,
Um,
it was the person who's taking them
Oh,
in order
And
for
then-
them to
yeah.
construct the, you
And
know.
unfortunately, the house to the south, the gentleman had family commitment, so. And I have talked to the neighborhood association president also, who's 2 houses away.
I just want to press you one more time. The house to the south there makes a very nice, in my opinion, a very nice presentation from the road. I would assume it's a 3-car garage. You sure you don't want to pursue that similar, just mirror image that house?
You know, I really don't. I put a lot of thought into this. Obviously, living in the house for the years that I have, and you know, I am a licensed builder, and I've worked for a local builder and have had him walk and look at the property, review what I'm planning on doing, and you know, and work with Keith Engineering. So there's a lot of thought in what has gone and is presented to you, and I feel confident with it. I understand your concerns, and it'd be disappointing to not to have to go back and start over. I kind of, end up losing. Now I'm in the winter, and time and money is that, but that's a personal issue. I respect your decision.
I guess I don't have too big of a concern. I'm finished with all my questions.
Anybody else have anything additional questions or comments? Or-
I was just looking at the depth of the lot next door to you. It appears to be deeper, but obviously this is excuse me, a situation where the recorded distances on the map here don't fit where the actual edge of the water is, because if you look at the south edge of the lot to the south, it says it's 136.5 feet. Well, the next lot over is 168, so that 136 can't be right.
I guess I will say that you will see the actual water edge is not the same as the lot line.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I know the plat, and the
Yeah.
plat is,
And I will say, yeah, our deck that we have designed on the house, we originally intended to have a roof over that, but then eliminated the roof because we learned that would be non-conforming. So we've made an effort to design and construct a house that we're intending to fit within all zoning ordinances, but didn't think about the 10-foot rule. So.
Anything additional?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, now
Case 22-020 to approve the request as advertised, along with a survey showing as-built on the footings to make sure we're in the correct location, and the fire marshal review of the plans of the detached structure and the new attached garage.
A motion by Augur,
I support it.
support by Zurich. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Sharrow,
yes.
Mr. Zurich,
Yes.
Mr. Auger,
Yes.
Mr. Galley.
No. Your motion passes 3-1. And obviously get your,
Can I add one more thing?
sure.
You made a comment. I do intend to have Keith Engineering to locate the lot for footings.
We do that typically.
Yeah, on any variance case, just to make, since the lot lines are so tight, when you do your footings, we
I've already
require-
been in contact with them. and
placement
plan to do
survey.
that, so.
And then that saves you a step, because if you're off by a foot, then it's
Yeah.
cheaper than tearing down the house.
Yes, yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, approval of minutes. Any comments on the regular meeting minutes of July 20th, 2022?
Hearing no changes, I'll make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of July 20th, 2022 as submitted.
I'll support that. Motion to approve by Augur, support by Galley. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, seeing none. Minutes are approved. Item I, discussion. Any discussion? Brian, anything from the township?
Nothing tonight.
Nothing from the township? Anything from the board? Nothing interesting? Nope.
Does anybody know what's going on with the restaurant that's just north on the freeway on Sashbaugh there, the
Heart and Shakes,
Yes, it's gonna be an Art and Jake's sports bar,
oh boy.
next to it is a medical
surgical
complex
center.
in front of it.
Yeah, we approved it jointly when they both came in together, because it's a kind of a shared parcel, and we combined their landscaping and community features for
Mhm.
that district. but Art and Jake's, I think they have, what, 4 or 5 locations, mostly on the east side? 2 or 3?
Yeah, it's a handful, 2 or 3, and they have
It's
one
a
in Georgia, I think.
Family-owned business, but yeah, they were in front of the planning commission a few months back, and the medical, outpatient surgery center, I
Yeah.
believe. So
And that's
just,
going between the hotel and the restaurant?
Yes.
So just daytime patients, so the parking, restaurant at night, they said any daytime surgery patients are, out of there by 4 or 5 o'clock and gone. So it was kind of symbiotic that it came together at the same time.
And they're both under construction.
I just drove by there yesterday and I didn't even notice the medical center. I
Yeah.
mean, I noticed Art and
Well,
Jake's.
Footings?
it's a foundation permit. It's kind of a weird setup. They're doing a shell, and then there's a separate builder who's gonna come in and outfit it,
Oh.
but- So it's
Gotcha.
kinda almost like how a strip center typically is
So
with
they
a white
just
box.
white box it and then come in.
Yeah. So,
Typically on a medical has worked in the hospital in the past, it's very, with lead and everything you have to do.
X-ray rooms, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good meeting, guys.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at,
oh, I
6.
need to approve the minutes.
Oh,
We did,
We did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yep.
yeah. Alan motioned, I
I didn't check that off.
seconded it.
It's my fault. All right.
I'll make a motion to adjourn at 6:42.
Okay, I'll support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. We're adjourned at 6:42.